Hello, P3 fam. I'm Peteche, as you know. I'm the founder and president of the Power Passion Purpose Project, giving you your intro for session 3 from the Empowerment Summit that took place from August 24th to 29th of 2020. So coming up, you'll see Peteche Rhodriquez giving you a makeup and skincare tutorial, followed by a demo by Aline Charles on Haircare. Then we had Etiquette with Kirsten Sweeting, followed by wait, I can do this. Peteche, Aline, Kirsten, Lavonne. Then we had Lavonne giving us everything the rundown in terms of dressing for success, and we ended it off with Zemi Stewart talking about relationships and becoming a woman. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye!
Over time, you can get sun damage, and we can just damage that don't really have best ingredients for our skin. So it's really important to make sure that your skin is cleansed after your skin is toned after every cleanse. So
I have a
just make sure
question.
that I cleanse all that. Mm-hmm.
So I know me, like I'm pretty lazy, like when it comes to skincare. Like I'm the type, I just have like a little Biore exfoliating scrub. I do that in the morning and in the night. But like what are like must-haves for like proper skincare? Like if I can have like 3 products that I live by, like
Okay.
what should those 3 be?
All right. So good news. I literally planned this around your question because nobody have time to be doing an actual whole skincare
No.
routine morning and night.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So what's really important is to double up. So find a product that can do 2 in 1. So like this product, it's a hyaluronic acid and vitamin C product. So you get a 2 acid that's going to help plumpen up your face and give you that collagen and give you that youthful look. And then you also have the vitamin C that's going to brighten those pigmentation and just give you an overall even skin tone. So that's this one right here that we're going to apply after our toner. So I just shake up every product. I don't know why. I just feel like products need to be shaken up. And then with this one, it has this really cool dispenser. So all you need to do is grab some, and I put like 2 dots. That's all you need because we already live in a really hot climate, and you don't really need too much product on your face. And you see how much that already spread out over my face? Those 2 little drops. And I just move that all around. So brushing our face, that's the second step that we've done so far. I mean, we have one more step. It's pretty easy, to be honest. After this next step that I'm gonna do, that would be it for me if I'm not wearing makeup that day. Then of course, if we are wearing makeup, then we'll have to go on 2 more steps.
So we have 2 questions inside
I
the
need to
chat.
rub this in. Okay.
Okay, so one of the questions is from Nike, right? And she asks, do you recommend the charcoal cleanser for all skin types?
It depends. I feel like if with me, my skin is very, very, very funny. I would say from my nose and my cheeks, maybe even my forehead a little is pretty oily, but I have shifting clouds around my mouth if you can't see. So this area of my face is extremely dry. So if I don't moisturize it as soon as I cleanse, then it does get really dry. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for drier skin because my skin gets extremely dry when I use that because it's literally trying to fight against oil.
Right.
So if you have dry skin, it wouldn't necessarily be the best for you. You would probably want to use like a more sensitive skin cleanser because it has a lot more moisture in it and it'll be better for your skin.
Okay.
And what's the second question?
And Hannah Minnis asks, what brand is that rose water toner that you used?
This is from Heritage Store. I got this from Amazon. So let me just put it in the camera so you can see it.
Heritage Store.
So yeah, this
I'll
one is
put
from
it inside the
Amazon.
chat. Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, guys, last step of our 3-step besides cleanser skincare process is a moisturizer that has SPF. Now, we live in a climate where it is extremely hot and UV rays are not playing with our skin, okay? So I don't care if you're white, black, Latino, Asian, we need skincare, we need SPF if we want to keep our skin looking nice and young and healthy. So I'm using one from Urban Skin RX, which is also pretty affordable. You can get this one from, I believe I got this one from Ulta, but you can grab this from Target. I'm not sure if they sell it here, but I got mine online. So just one pump because skincare tends to leave a little cast on your face. So a little tiny pump. I'm gonna move this around my skin. I wonder if am I supposed to be able to see the chat?
I mean, you don't really have to. That's what I'm here for, Tishka. So I will read. You just, do your thing.
Oh,
I'm here to do all the heavy work, I got you.
okay. I thought I was.
Okay, so Shakala asks.
Okay.
She asks, what is the best brand sunscreen for women of color? And Daria Richardson asks, what is the SPF number that we should look for?
So for women of color, I like the Urban RX SPF moisturizer simply because it doesn't leave a purple or white cast. Y'all know I am melanin rich, and I don't believe you can see a white cast on my face after I use the moisturizer. And it's very moisturizing. My skin feels so supple and it doesn't feel greasy because I didn't use a lot. And what was the next question? Sorry.
What SPF number would you suggest that they purchase for their face?
I would start at 15. And I recommend on days when you're not wearing makeup and if you're going to be outdoors to bring your SPF with you and apply your SPF every 2 hours. It sounds tedious, it sounds a lot, but if you can remember to do it, then do it. And a habit is only going to start if you
I am
keep
so
doing
bad with that stuff.
Right?
I'm not gonna lie, like I am awful when it comes to that. So I'm hoping that I, keep those words to the front of my head. I will keep my SPF with me. Okay, Alicia asks, do you recommend shaving your face? Like the peach fuzzies.
Well, Alicia, I just bought these today and I actually shaved my face before I love shaving my face, okay? I always shave like right in here and come up. Listen, I ain't going to try and shave my face.
I've tried it before, Tishka. But my thing is like I'm kind of scared of like cutting my skin because I feel like you have to like hold it like very taut, and then
you do.
Yeah, if you can't just be like loosey goosey with it,
So because this is clean and I have already shaved my face, I'm gonna show you what I do. Okay? So I like to take my mouth and like push it opposite like that. And just clean lines. I don't like to go back and forth because you risk cutting yourself. So clean lines. And that. And I'm to shave off because I already shaved my face. But I love shaving my face.
And I've also found like the one time that I did do it, that like my face, like my tone was brighter and more even after I did it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like shaving your legs or shaving any other part of your body, once it's under that hair for so long, your skin is so protected from the sun that it absolutely does not get tan. It does not go with the rest of your skin. So I feel like you should shave your face just so you can get a more even complexion. You might be trying to figure out why my face so black spot light or why this part dark? Shave your face and you'll see a difference. Like just shave your face. I recommend everybody shave their face.
So
It's amazing.
Is shaving your face similar to that dermaplaning thing that I see a lot of dermatologists offering?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear me? Oh, okay.
You froze. I was waiting for the unfreeze. I was waiting for you to unfreeze. What did you say?
No, I was asking if shaving your face is similar to the planning or planing offer that I see a lot of dermatologists do.
Dermaplaning?
Yeah, that.
But you asking if I would recommend it?
I was asking if it's like very similar to like shaving your face, because we're trying to save money on this road. So yeah.
Listen, shave your face, okay? Don't go to the dermatologist. It's too expensive.
That part. Like, girl, keep it 100.
Just always use a clean razor and use a new razor, because if your razor is old and dull, you just risk like scraping your skin, and then it's not. Just use a new and clean razor every time. I don't care if you just used that razor yesterday, buy a new one.
Okay. Do you find that like could I get like ingrown hairs after like I shave my face, Tishka? Like I'm thinking like is that like a thing?
No. No, we don't grow
Okay.
enough on our face, and the hair is too fine to get ingrown hairs. So ingrown hairs really happens when your hair starts to grow so long and curly that it grows back down into another pore, and that's how you get an ingrown hair. But our hair on our face don't grow that long for it to become an ingrown hair.
So we can just like, you know, just like razor our lips and like our chin, and we could just like
I just did that.
Just like be bald and beautiful, you know, like from the eyebrows down, just like, you know, freedom reign, yeah?
Listen, if you got hair, girls, shave it off, okay? Shave it off. It's not face at all. It's not gonna hurt you to shave it off. I literally, maybe like once a month, I was like, I can't go on this, and people seeing this hair above my lips. So I shave it off, and it's fine. It's fine. I tone right after it. I wash my face before I shave. Always wash your face before you shave. So I wash my face. That way all the extra oil will come off. That way I get a cleaner shave. And then I tone, regular skincare. Fine. Now my skin is, I look like Beyonce. I mean, like self-proclaimed, but that's how I feel.
You look good, girl, with a T on it. Girl, you look good. Period, poo. You look good.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a question from Alicia. She said, what should you use to get rid of whiteheads?
Let me tell y'all a secret of what I do. And this might be a little gross, but I'm gonna do it because I do have the tools, but sometimes I feel quite lazy. So to get rid of whiteheads, again, always keep your skin clean. So wash your face first. But there are little tools that look like this.
Girl, I had one of those.
That you're actually supposed to use to get rid of whiteheads. And then on the other side is something that looks like this.
Ooh, that looked good. Like that was just like dig out everything.
Right. So what you're supposed to do is cleanse these with alcohol. Make sure they're clean and sterile. And if the whitehead is big enough, or if it doesn't just come up by you pressing on it, you just give it a little poke. Take it out. Poke,
okay.
Take it out. Poke. Take it out.
Girl, I would just
top of the skin with a little bit of tea tree oil to calm it down.
Proper vibes. I love to watch those videos on the interwebs. Yep. I'm addicted to them.
So it's I just saw a question. Maybe I can see now. I saw a question, and it said where you can get it from. Dream Girls, and that one is right here. So Dream Girls has these. I don't know if they still have them, but if you keep checking, they normally do have stuff like this. So yeah, and if you don't have one of these, or can't find one of these, a good bobby pin. Listen to me. Take the bobby pin, clean it in alcohol, like just to get on the sides of your nose, you take the back end and just come all the way down, and you'll see all of the whiteheads and all of these stuff, all that debris come right out of your skin. I do that like once a day, and every day something comes out of my skin. Every day.
This is powerful information, Tishka. I hope everyone's taking heed to what you're saying.
Yeah, and you can get like 200 of these for like $2. And look, like everywhere, you could just take it. And I'm telling you, like you'll see stuff come up out of your face. Stuff coming out of your face. Trust me.
Therefore, okay.
Hey.
So Sarah asks, "What do you use for acne?" Tishka, man, because you want to see the process. So talk and do, babe.
Okay. So for acne, I'm a hormonal acne person. So I don't get acne from like eating sweets, or because I'm not like a sweets eater. But I get acne when it's that time of the month, like a week before that time of the month. If I take my pills, I get acne. So I don't believe that all acne products, like products that's meant for acne, I don't believe that they work. So I'm gonna show y'all this trick, and it is up to you to use this trick because it's a bootleg trick of mine, and I do not take responsibility for any acne if you use this trick. So let me just grab it so I can show y'all. So I brush my teeth with a activated charcoal toothpaste, right? And I got this from Fresh Market, so you can get it here. It's like $7-8 here, and it's like $4 something online. So it's called Desert Essence. Got this from Fresh Market here, and in almost a lot of acne skincare products, it has activated charcoal in this. Hence why my cleanser is black, because it has charcoal in it. And charcoal is supposed to release whiteheads and blackheads from your pores and clean your pores, and that will get rid of acne, right? Because the dirt and oils and blackheads, whiteheads that's deep in your skin submerge. When you wash it off, it goes away, right? So I'm like, if my cleanser is supposed to do that, and I have activated charcoal in my toothpaste, why can't I just put this toothpaste on my acne? So a couple nights ago, I had about 3 hormonal acne breakouts. And after I cleansed my skin, I did my skincare routine, and I put my skincare routine everywhere on my face except for those 3 acne spots that I had. And I put this on the 3 acne spots, and I kid you not, the next morning when I woke up, they were dry. Like, it felt like a nut was on my face when I touch it, how dry it was. And I just left it there for a couple more hours before I washed my face, like an hour or so. And then by that night, it had already had like a scab on it, because it literally dried the acne right up. And I think by the next day, so it was about a little over a day, but by the next day it was gone. The 3 acne spots I had was gone. So this is my secret.
I know when I was in high school, I just used to throw like a little piece of Colgate right on it. So if the Colgate is high enough, I could imagine with that activated charcoal.
So imagine Colgate but activated charcoal. Okay, it's good. This is my secret. I just put y'all on.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Great. Y'all deserve it though. Y'all deserve it, I must say. But yeah, this is staple. And a little bit of this is so thick, a little bit of this goes a very, very long way.
Multi-purpose, that's what we're doing in 2020, you know, fashion but frugal. We gotta look good on a budget, baby.
Yeah, we didn't have to do so much. We already have to do hair, we have to do skincare, we have to do makeup, we have to do nails. It's a lot, and you have to save money.
My God.
Mm-hmm. Please, I can't. Go off the date. That's another talk for another day, okay?
Okay, back to the program. Hannah Minnis asked, what is the name of the serum used after the toner? I know she didn't hear that.
the serum after the toner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this says it's from Botanical, and it's a hyaluronic serum with organic aloe and vitamin C. So the brand is Botanical, and I got this from Amazon.
Yo, I can't spell that.
No, just type in hyaluronic
Thanks.
HYALURONIC. Hyaluronic acid serum.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to find it. It's on Amazon.
Okay, proceed, babes. We're waiting. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so we ready to get into some makeup? Yes? Okay. My favorite part, let me bring my light closer. Okay, make sure y'all can see me. I think I just made this worse. Put this light over here. Okay, yeah. It look good. So we're gonna do my makeup the way I do my makeup on myself. The way I do it on my clients is very different. Very, very different. On my clients, I always start with eyes first so I can control how much fallout and I can clean up and stuff after. But on myself, I feel like I have a little bit more leeway, and I trust myself a little bit more to mess up on me than to mess up on my clients. So what I like to do is start out with foundation or concealer. So because I haven't been wearing so much makeup lately because of quarantine, my skin actually isn't that bad. So I can get away with just using a concealer. So my favorite concealer is this gel serum concealer from Sephora. So it's this one. It's very, very lightweight. I would say it's like about a medium to buildable coverage. You don't need a lot of it if your skin is doing okay.
So,
And skin isn't the best, I would say foundation.
so Bree is asking if Dream Girls is open.
Probably Monday.
Yeah, I would say probably Monday.
They can open on Monday.
And what makeup brands do you recommend for sensitive skin? Also, do you think there's an age limit to wear makeup?
Okay, for sensitive skin, I would say you always look for brands who market mostly for sensitive skin, who use a lot of natural ingredients and who promotes a lot of natural ingredients. So for that, I would say Bare Minerals. They're mineral makeup base, so it's really, really good for sensitive skin. I personally don't have sensitive skin, but I've heard that that's a really good makeup brand for those who does have sensitive skin. And in terms of an age limit for makeup, never, never ever. I feel like I want to go to my grave beat. I don't feel like we should keep putting so much limits with age with women because we don't do it to men. So I feel like whatever a woman wants to do at any age, whether it be makeup, however she wants to dress, if she wants to do something new in her career, she should be able to do whatever it is she wants to do.
So I only came here to make a comment, right? But now I feel caught in the question. So the comment I wanted to make was, first, I feel like I'm back in QC auditorium. All us back together.
I know.
So yes, this is fun. But I will answer just these last few questions and then give it back to Danielle to ask you questions. But
Okay.
Back to that age limit question. Let's flip it then. So when do you start wearing makeup?
I feel like you can start wearing makeup when you feel you want the urge to play in makeup. Now, I had the urge to play in makeup at about, to be honest, about 7 or 8 years old because I was just like a girly girl. And I don't feel like I was limited or the Bahamian coin term, womanish. I just was so interested in how makeup can just make you feel different and make you look different, and all the colors that you can actually put on your face, because we're literally one color. And if you can add some zhuzh to
Lavonne.
your life, yeah, then why not? It'll wash away. It's not like it'll be permanent if you put it on your face. So I feel like once it's monitored correctly and it's for the right reasons, you can let your kid play in makeup, but it doesn't matter what age.
So I watch you apply this concealer now, and I realize usually, I mean, the key places are underneath your eye area, your nose, and if you have a pimple, but you put it a few more places. So are you using your concealer instead of foundation? Like, can you use
Yeah.
it interchangeably?
Yes. So, like I said, my skin isn't doing too bad because I had the time to take care of it. So I feel like I can use a lighter coverage. Now, people confuse concealer with just for highlighting. You can get concealer that's your actual skin tone and put it anywhere on your face. So if you need to use foundation because you have a bit more problematic skin, or you just having a bad breakout day, you can use your foundation all around, and then you can just spot conceal those areas where you might have an extra pimple one day, or you might have an extra dark spot one day. So say for example, I use this as foundation around my mouth. You can't see it that good, but like I said, I have shifting clouds. So I have areas around my mouth that will appear a bit lighter, or you can like see the discoloration underneath my foundation. So what you can do is just go in with a layer of concealer to cover that up. Me personally, I don't mind if my makeup isn't perfect, but if it was a client of mine, I would have definitely gone on that second layer.
Okay. And the brush that you're using to blend everything out now, where is that from and what's it called?
So this is a Morphe 448 brush. Morphe brushes are so affordable and they're so good. So yeah, I basically switched out all my brushes to Morphe brushes just because you can get a lot more bang for your buck.
Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
Shandia is asking where Dream Girls is.
So Dreamgirls has a few locations. I know one is in the east, in the plaza next to, what is the pizza place called? Mario's? What's the pizza place
Marco?
called?
Marco's A.
Mark. Yeah, Marco's.
That's a good
So
sign.
one
That's
is
a good sign. That means you haven't been eating food over the quarantine.
Yeah, real talk.
no.
Working on that body,
One is
working on
there.
fitness.
You know what? So y'all don't do that. Okay. So what is there? one is in the Village Road Plaza. Yeah, that plaza, and one is in the plaza on Prince Charles where Shells is.
Okay.
Those are the only three I know about.
Okay, cool. So I'm seeing a question about makeup for oily skin. So when it comes to that, are you looking for specific brands, or are you just looking for specific products to kind of like mat it down?
Definitely specific products, because I think every brand has different product range and lines for different skin types and different skin concerns.
Yeah.
So when it comes to matte products, I usually like to start off with a primer that's a little bit of a matte velvet finish. So I would use the Fenty primer. This is my favorite primer. I use this on pretty much all my clients because even though our skin types might be different in terms of being oily, being dry, I feel like once we step into our Bahamian sun, because you know our Bahamian sun is a different sun that everybody else have.
Different tone.
So once we step into our Bahamian sun, everyone gets this shine, this oiliness. So I feel like any skin type can use this because it's not such a dry primer. It's a velvet matte primer, so it still leaves a little bit of moisture in the skin. So I would use this. I don't generally use primer on myself because my skin is really dry and I kind of find a way to cope with my skin, but I would use that on everybody else.
So Selvinique is now asking whether or not, in terms of applying concealer over the whole face in replace of the foundation, whether or not it causes you to look a bit more oily throughout the day or dewy, or like what's the deal with that?
It just depends on the concealer. So it depends on the concealer's finish. So that concealer I just use is about, I wouldn't say it's a bit moisturizing because it's a gel concealer. So if you are not into that finish that I like, then you can definitely grab a different concealer. Tarte makes good concealers that aren't as dewy as mine. You can also use just a foundation. There are a lot of drugstore foundations that are more affordable that are matte. So Maybelline, is it Maybelline? Maybelline Fit Me Matte is a really, really good foundation. What I can do is come up with a list if you guys want of my favorite drugstore matte foundation, because I have a few of them in my kit and they're really, really nice and they have a lot of shade ranges.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. And then we can just email that out to the girls.
Oh yeah. I got a lot of little things.
So now we have questions about dark circles and dark spots, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, how to get rid of the dark circles under your eyes. And then secondly, how best to, cover both, dark circles and dark hyperpigmentation around your face.
All right. So if you have, I would say, extreme or a little bit more concerning hyperpigmentation, I would use a orange concealer, I literally mean orange, just a little bit of it, just to start canceling out some of the darkness, and then go over it with your foundation. Now, if you find that you still can see visible dark spots over your foundation, that's when you go in with a concealer to spot conceal, or you can go back in with the foundation. Honestly, people say that, but it don't really make a difference. Once it's the same shade, you go right back in. So let me see if I can actually get close enough. I have a scar from when I was a kid, and I don't really cover it because it doesn't bother me like that. But if I wanted like full coverage and I don't want nobody to see that, I would go over it. So I don't know if y'all could actually see me going over that right there. So boom, I don't need to move that all around my face. It only needs to cover that one spot, right?
Okay.
So what's best to do is, if you really need to concentrate that product and really get full coverage, do not touch it yet. Give it about a minute. Let it dry. The reason is, if you let it dry a little bit, when you move it, it has a thicker consistency than if you were to apply it wet. So just like if you have glue, right? If you put glue on the back of your hand and you immediately touch it, it's going to be wet like what? It's going to move all around the place, right? But if you leave it a few seconds and you wait, you find that it's a bit more tacky. And if you go to move it around, it doesn't go all over the place.
Okay.
Use that same method for your concealer. So leave this, let this dry a minute. I can still feel it a little wet. So I'm going to give that a second. Let that dry down. And then when you start to blend it out, start blending out around it first and not necessarily exactly where it's over the spot. Okay. Because we want as much coverage over that spot as possible. So I'm still blending around that spot to make sure I don't lose coverage over my dark spot. And I don't know if y'all could have seen the spot I had, but I can't see it anymore because it's gone. I use my full coverage method and I covered up that spot. Quick as that.
Get that. So Peteche, the orange concealer that we spoke about, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're both women of color, but our shades and hues are different. So can someone my skin color or lighter use that orange concealer to correct?
It depends on how dark the orange is. If the orange runs really deep, like in the red family, you would not use that. Definitely not. In that case, if you're a lighter complexion, you would go over to the peach concealer. So the peach would kind of be our equivalent of an orange. Okay. Something more peachy would work. Okay, cool. And they have those colors. I don't know what palette is, but I had a palette. There's a an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette that actually has all of those in it. So it has the peach, it has the lighter peach and the medium peach, and it has a orange.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're only getting it for yourself, you don't need it. But as an artist, I have it for everyone. But they have stuff like that. And you can find it drugstore and cheaper than that too. So just do a little bit of research. But of course, I'm providing y'all with a list. So y'all hooked up.
As you're all fully covered.
Yeah. All right. I think we had a question about dark circles. Did we?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move to the next step, right? So I don't know if y'all noticed when I put on the concealer or foundation, however your first step is, I always bring it up, like maybe the last bit of it that's left over on my brush, I bring it up underneath my eyes, right? And of course, it's not going to completely cover my dark circles, but it's the first step of giving me a little bit of coverage. So all the way underneath my eyes, this is a really thin layer underneath my eyes. So that's what I do first. And then I go in with my highlighting concealer, right? I don't use a highlighting concealer that's so much shades brighter than me.
Okay.
Because if you use a concealer that's so bright, it's going to become a little bit ashy and it's going to start looking a bit gray. And if you have a gray concealer over dark spots or dark circles, your circles are going to look worse. They're going to be amplified a lot more. So I just use a shade, maybe like 2, maybe 3 on a fully beat day. I'd use 3, but for now I'm going to use 2. So not a lot. I don't know if y'all can see. So that's about the amount of concealer I like to use on myself.
Okay.
So because I already have this layer, this even layer underneath my eye, this concealer blended in with that is more than likely going to completely cover any dark circles that you have. And then same method that I use to show y'all how to cover up a dark spot, you use the exact same method underneath the eye. You give your concealer a minute just to dry down. Just give it a second to set, give it a second before you blend it out. And to blend, I always use a beauty blender. I know there are other sponges that some people think are really good, but I don't think anything can compete with an actual beauty blender, the brand beauty blender. This is what I use on my clients, on myself. I don't think anything is better than this beauty blender. So this is what I use. Only thing I use, blend out anything, highlight my eyes, on the bridge of my nose. So you always want to keep this damp with water. I damped mine a little bit, but that was a couple of minutes ago, so it's kind of dry. So I'm going to give y'all guys a second to think of some questions to ask me. I just have to re-damp this before I use this to blend out under my eyes. So just give me 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
2 seconds, I gotta wait.
Are you guys taking notes? This was like great. Like a lot of this stuff I had no idea about, seriously.
I see some lovely faces today. I think they can hear me through you.
Can you hear Petty?
Act like I never left.
Okay, Tishka, I know oh God, look at you.
Oh, you can see that. I just using my phone, the flashlight to give y'all some more light so you can see what I'm doing. Hold on.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so I know I have a question for you. So personally, I don't feel comfortable spending like $20 for like a piece of a sponge. So like my beauty blender is like from Target. Is it really worth like that $20?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
It is. I have never had and I like other sponges. I mean, they're okay, but that's like driving a Bentley and then not driving a Bentley, you know?
Oh wow, that's very probably. I didn't know it was like that deep.
I never had a Bentley, but I'm just saying, like, if I go drive a Bentley, I ain't going back to driving my car, you know? It's like flying first class, you know?
So,
and then you gotta go back. Sorry, that's like flying JetBlue and then you have to go fly
God,
Spirit.
I
Okay,
rebuke
that's
that.
what I
No,
mean.
no, 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 none of that. Tishka, question. So how do you keep like your beauty blender clean and your brushes, and how often should you clean them? Girl, I know I'm terrible at like keeping my brushes and stuff clean. I don't even want to say, but it's very, very shameful. So how do you
Oh
clean?
Lord.
I know I use like baby shampoo, but like
So this is
and
another
water.
really,
But
really
how do you use? What do you use to clean your products with, and how often should you clean them?
stop, stop. Okay, stop using baby shampoo, please. Stop using it.
I
I
feel like
clean
on
my
like a wiki page.
honestly, personally, I kind of terrible with myself with cleaning brushes, but because I'm a makeup artist, I have to make sure that my brush is clean for every client. So I think all makeup brush products need to come off the market. Honestly, because I have found nothing better than what I actually do use to clean my makeup brushes. And I'm actually gonna get up and get it because I just got a big pack of it. And y'all can scream when y'all see what I actually use. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, guys. Y'all ready to see what I actually do use to clean my brushes?
Already, babe. What? Oh wow.
Let me tell you why. It's antibacterial. These little sponges that we have, sponges are very porous. So
Right.
you have makeup that gets in it, you have dirt, oil, bacteria, and you have to make sure that these are thoroughly cleansed and disinfected. So dial soap is antibacterial. Doctors recommend you using this before surgery because it does actually really clean your body. So 2 swipes of this on a brush, you will never see your brush bristles as whiter, like as when you first bought them.
Oh.
Literally this with a little bit of warm water,
Mm-hmm.
game changer. You'd never go back to using anything else to clean your sponges and your brushes. Best thing. Best thing.
Wow. Okay, Tishka. So question.
Mhm.
How do you know when it's time to like switch out your beauty blender, like switch out like your makeup brushes? Hello.
So if your beauty blender is starting to tear, you need to throw that away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let it go.
throw it away.
Uh-huh.
Let it go. If you washing it and you see that it's like terribly stained and it's not coming out, time to get a new one.
Let it go. Okay.
Yeah, let's move forward.
So let's move forward.
All
And what
right.
about for brushes?
Hmm?
Like, how do you know, like when should I buy like a new makeup brush?
Honestly, if you just take care of your makeup brushes by storing them correctly and washing them on time, I would say on time for ourselves. Let's just be practical and let's just be honest. We don't have time to wash makeup brushes every day. We honestly just don't have time to do it. I mean, now we do because we home doing nothing. But on a regular day-to-day work day, makeup brushes is the last thing you're thinking about. So I say every week. At the end every week on a Sunday before you go to bed, make sure your brush is clean for the week. That's all you could ask for.
So we
To
gotta
be
use
honest.
toner, moisturizer, wash our brush. This is a lot. Okay. So
Either that or you'll whole at 50. I mean, that's up to you.
so Holly asks, how do we feel about tinted moisturizers?
How are you supposed to feel about them? Joking. I feel like it depends on the brand. The best tinted moisturizer I used from a brand was from Smashbox. They have the best tinted moisturizer that I've ever tried, and I've tried a few. I don't love them though. I have a really hate relationship with tinted moisturizers. I feel like just use a concealer and don't use as much.
Is that like a baby cream or like a
All
CC
right,
cream?
no.
I don't know
No.
what. So what them things is? Because I see like, what is a baby? What is
There's
this thing?
ways to make
Like,
extra.
like what that even mean? I just feel like they just like want to like get my coins, and I'm not gonna give it to them.
Ways to make extra money.
Okay.
That's how I feel. I don't like them. They don't work for me. They don't work on my clients. They're very busy. Maybe they're not meant for anybody that lives in the Bahamas because we honestly cannot take that on our faces. As soon as we step outside, we're like, we pour ice cream on our face. It just would not work. It just wouldn't work. So that I have to set really quick because under my eyes starting to crease. Okay.
Okay, babes,
So
that's fine.
use my Fenty powder. You don't
Mhm.
have to use the powder as expensive as this. Banana powder from what's the brand called? Banana powder from Ben Nye.
And I use the Sasha situation. Is that
Yeah,
good? Okay.
Sasha works too. I
Okay.
feel like you could get a lot of leeway when it comes to setting powder. Like
Okay.
a lot of good brands make really, really good setting powders. So
Okay.
it's to you.
So Selvanique asks, do you what are tips to lighten dark lips? And Alicia asks if you have a lip routine.
Yes, I do. My lip routine is literally after I brush my teeth, I brush my lips with the same toothpaste, the toothbrush that I used to brush my teeth. So teeth, lips, tongue, Vaseline, morning and night. That's it.
Because
But
I
yeah,
know, like at nighttime, I just put like Aquaphor like all over my lips.
I've heard the Aquaphor is really good.
Aquaphor is the tits. It's so
that's
good.
is that in the blue bottle?
It's like it comes in like a white jar with like a navy blue lid. It's just like Vaseline, basically. I think it's just like another name for Vaseline, but it's really, really good. Like I just like slather my mouth. I just like dip my mouth in oil and bring it back up. And when I wake up in the morning, it's just like
Same. I tried using this. It's like a lip treatment serum. Trying to be extra in my skincare routine, and it was from a brand called Fresh. The worst thing I've ever done to my lips. I broke out in a bunch of fine lines,
wow.
and it just wasn't worth it. I feel like when you brush your lips with your toothbrush, you exfoliating, you lifting up all the dead skin. It's just all you need. You don't need anything else but that and a good lip moisturizer like chapstick, Vaseline, Blistex, whatever you like to use on your lips as a moisturizer. Just brush your teeth first and do that. You don't need nothing else. Your lips are already so sensitive. It just don't need to go through all the extra work.
What about to lighten darker lips, Tishka?
I would still say brush them because
really? Okay.
it's exfoliation. So
Okay.
if like my lips weren't always like this, like my lips was kind of a little bit darker, but I found that brushing my lips every day over time, my lips just started to lighten, and that wasn't really the goal. It happened, so I feel like that'll work.
Okay. And then Sherlanda asked if you recommend lip scrubs.
Yeah, you can do it. I mean, just as an extra little treat to yourself, but you don't have to.
Okay. No, Daria, she uses the same toothbrush for her lips.
Same toothbrush. Same toothbrush. Set in my face with powder, y'all. Because like I said, around here it's really dry. So I don't set the bottom half of my face with any powder. I know that sounds weird, but my face to the bottom, the lower half of my face literally cracks from it being so dry. So I do not set right in here with powder at all, ever.
Okay, so you can do it.
You good?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that part. Oh no. Okay. Wait. Tishka, I missed that part that you just did with the powder. What was that powder? We were
Oh, this is
technical
block
difficulties.
powder. Fenty block powder.
Okay.
And sorry, hold up. See? Child, mine is already hitting the pan, okay?
Okay. What is that? Is that like translucent powder?
All it really does is take away shine. So instead of using a powder with more coverage, I don't feel like I need more coverage. So I literally just use the block powder to just take away any more shine on my face because I don't want any more coverage on my face. I feel like I okay with the coverage I have.
Okay.
Yep. So now, guys, we're gonna move on to contouring, which is my favorite thing. So again, Fenty, we need to ask Rihanna for a sponsorship, okay? Because we've been using a lot of Fenty. Okay, it coming. I feel it.
Yes, I feel it. I receive it in my spirit. I receive it for your spirit.
Well, hallelujah.
Okay,
Right.
so Lavonne asks, what do you do to stop the under of your eyes from creasing? She finds that no matter how much setting powder she uses, as the day goes, there's a crease. And it looks as though she has bags under her eyes. So how can we stop it from happening?
Maybe she's using a little bit too much concealer. Maybe all the way underneath. So notice when I put on my concealer, let me see if I can find a dry brush. Notice when I put on concealer, I put it on. I avoid right here in my eye, like directly underneath the lash line. I avoid it because that's where you start to crease up the fastest. So as limited amount of product you can put underneath, like directly underneath your lash line. Do that, right? So product goes underneath of my lash line. So from about right here, I start putting product. So this is left empty. So I blend, and at the last minute, I take the product up underneath my lash line right before I set. Because if you don't have the product there sitting up, then it won't start to crease up.
Thank you. Tishka, we have like 5 more minutes.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, I'm having like a blast.
So guess what? If I was doing my makeup, I would have been done long time, but it's really quick. So what I'm gonna do is just not gonna stop anymore. We're gonna talk while I finish, right? Okay. So this is gonna be really quick. All I do is use my Fenty bronzer, right? You see that already? Already. So boom, boom, boom. One brush for all my contouring because I don't play games when it's time to get out the door.
Okay.
One brush, we contour, right?
So Tisha, what about this whole, are people still using like milk of magnesia on their skin? Like, is that like a major no-no, or like, what's up with that?
So people use milk of magnesia who have like really, really, really oily skin. There's some people literally, no matter how much good primer you use or matte foundations you use, they just literally seep oil from their pores, and it's really frustrating for people who have really oily skin like that. And I think they were just looking for any type of solution to combat that oil. So that's why I don't give people so much flack, because you can imagine paying $70 to $80 to get your makeup done, but your skin just disrespecting you like that by breaking up all your makeup.
Oh, the devil.
And
God, I rebuked that too.
And yeah, so I never really shaded too many people for using it, but it's just not good for your skin. It's really, really not good for your skin. I noticed that the new craze is called Carmine lotion, and I think that's better for your skin. It leaves your skin nice and matte, so that's something you can use in replace of milk of magnesia. $1 pencil, y'all, for my eyebrows. No slapping up here, nothing too fancy.
So, Olga said, how does she do her eyeliner with her shaky hands? I know I just use like an eyeliner marker. That way, like I just like hold my eye and I just like drag it across like really, really quickly. Like, what do you think, Tishka? I would never do like a pot. Like that's just work for me.
I agree. If you have shaky hands and if you're not the best at doing your eyeliner, always use a pen or a marker.
Yeah, like a pen, yeah.
Something that's easier. And hold your breath. Hold on
Right.
your breath while you do eyeliner. It keeps you a lot more stable.
What shade contour bronzer would you recommend for darker skin?
So the one I used just now was Mocha Mami from Fenty. And then I think it's Morphe. They have a really, really nice one that's about, I think like $7. And it comes with a nice contour bronzer and a shimmery bronzer. So I'll send that along with the list.
Thanks, you darling.
Okay. So brows are on. If I have like an okay day, I don't need to concealer because
How important is concealing? It's
so
like I got into
I'm
concealing
okay with
like
that.
a couple of months ago.
Say it again.
How important is concealing? Because I just got into concealing like right before I went off to Miss Universe, and I just do just like right under my brow. Like I never like conceal like above my brow. I just do just like right like under my brow bone.
I think concealing is a preference. I just started concealing my brows, believe it or not. Maybe like a couple months ago, right before quarantine, I started getting into concealing my brows myself.
Yeah.
I did on my clients because most people prefer their eyebrows concealed because it's such a big trend. But honestly, you don't need to do it. You don't have to do it. I like a bushy brow, but that's just my preference. If you want to conceal your brow, nothing wrong with it. If you don't want to, nothing's wrong with it.
Okay.
Added Maybelline highlighter.
Girl, that's what I use. That is so good. That is off the chin. That is good. That is good, girl.
$7 of greatness.
Yep, right from Lowe's, anywhere. Love that.
Sure. I kind of hurry up because y'all have to see this full look. Like, this is my go-to look. So, chestnut lip pencil. Child, I overline my lips. I watch too much RuPaul, okay? So, don't say nothing to me. Overline. Let's go.
Okay, so do you prefer pencil or the brow powders? What are your thoughts?
On myself, I prefer a pencil. On my clients, I prefer a gel.
Okay.
Simply because the gel would last longer, of course, so I get more worth for my money. And then it's more sanitary to me because I just scoop out and put it on like the back of my hand or a petri dish, and I okay.
Hi, Aline. We see you. We're coming right now.
Almost done. Now with the eyes, y'all option to put on mascara or lashes. I had my lashes on deck, but anyway, you don't have no time. So boom, right? Little gloss. Charlotte's gloss is MT. Boom.
And look at her, guys. Isn't she just fabby?
Thank you.
Just show you look gorgeous, girl.
Thank you.
I mean, but you just have like when you just have such a flawless base to begin with, it's hard to improve upon perfection, you know?
I just started looking like sense, so I don't even know how to take that compliment properly.
Krishka, thank you so much. So once you send Patacia the list, then we will send it out to everybody.
What I would also say is that, Peteche, I don't know what your evening is looking like, but maybe you can just answer some of the questions in the chat box, like once your presentation is done and Aline starts, just so they get their answers now. Is that okay? You can have your
stay?
Yeah, there are like a few more questions in the chat box that I don't think Danielle got to ask you. So I'm just saying, once you're done with your presentation, maybe if you could just answer the message in the text box to them, that might be good.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
If I can find me.
Tishka got you. It's like if you look at the bottom of your screen, bottom middle to the left, it says chat, and then you'll pull it up. Like,
okay, I see it.
Okay,
I see it.
cool. Okay, I'm gonna give it back to Danielle.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna put my iPad on charge, and then I'm gonna come back to watch the other one, but I'm gonna answer the questions, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Tishka. We love you.
Bye.
Okay, guys, wasn't that just like the most fabby thing ever? Oh, sorry, we just had a little interruption. But now we have Aline, who's up next. Aline, Charles, Aline, are you there? Is your camera on? Hold on.
Yes, it's on. My camera's on. Can you
Oh,
hear
there we
me?
go.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, Elaine. Oh, wait. I think you're muted, Elaine. Hold on. Wait, that's me. Hello?
Hi. Can
Oh,
you
there
hear me?
we go. Sorry, born beautiful. It happens. Excuse me. Elaine, we're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
You're welcome. I'm very proud of what you guys are doing. I think it's really needed. And it's almost like I wish I had something like that growing up, but I'm very proud of you guys.
Thank you
Really.
so much. So a little about Elaine Charles. She's the founder of a newly rebranded company, Elaine & Co., formerly known as Here and Now, a company she envisions would bring all her work, past and present, combined under one umbrella, catering to all women while promoting self-love and care, because that ultimately is what it is all about. As a full-time licensed cosmetologist with 14 years of experience under her belt, Elaine has worked with some of the top salons in the Bahamas, including Mandara Spa Atlantis, Waves Hair Studio, Vela Albany, and Cut It Sandy Port, where she's currently stationed to welcome her clients. Additionally, she is certified under some of the top hairstyling products worldwide, namely Paul Mitchell, Pureology, Mizani, Orib, to name a few. As passion would lead, she would at times venture off to explore ideas inspired by the need of her very client. Hence the birth of her published The Modern Woman Lookbook and Hair T-shirt line. The Modern Woman Lookbook creates to inspire the women of today that are looking their best is not as hard to achieve, even for the women on the go. While the t-shirt line is mainly to help women stay on track with their healthy hair and growth journey, over the years, one thing hasn't changed is her passion to fulfill her purpose to empower women by educating them and taking utmost care of their hair, not just to look better, rather to feel better about themselves. So take it away, Miss Aline.
Yes, that's definitely me. And the way you said it, I'm like, oh, who is she talking about? Yeah, so it's definitely me. I'm, like you say, a licensed cosmetologist, which means just a hairstylist who actually, went to school to learn about how can I help people the proper way to help women when it comes to hair. One of the things I want to say when it comes to hair is actually knowing what hair is. Hair is basically protein. And once you kind of know that's what it is, then when it comes to taking care of it, you kind of know what it lacks, what it needs. So I would basically say in terms of products. Hello?
We're there. We're here.
Okay, sorry. I'm still trying to figure out how this works. Sorry. So when it comes to hair, if you know your hair is protein, then you would know, okay, well, as I'm guessing, most of us are here today are women of color. So we basically would need to put in what the hair doesn't have. Okay? So the way I would probably want people to think about it, hair comes out of your scalp in that little hole. And that's what we call the hair follicle. And then inside the hair follicle, you would have the little white tip of the hair, which is the bulb. And that's where you have your blood vessels. And that's where it would actually deliver hormones to take care of the hair. So now once you understand that's what hair is, then how do you go with selecting products to help, whether you want long, beautiful, healthy hair or you want it short and healthy? then you would kind of know, okay, well, if I go to the store to pick up hair products, which would be basically your shampoos, conditioners, oils, treatments, then you would know the important thing would be to look at the type that you're going to actually go for, because the market is, it's a lot of different products. So once you know, okay, well, my hair need moisture. As women of color, moisture is definitely what we would need. So when you picking out your hair products, it would definitely be something more in the moisturizing line or hydrating line versus protein, which when clients come to me, they would say, oh, I purchased products and it was basically strength products or reconstructing products. That's basically protein. You're just basically adding more protein into the hair, and that's not what the hair needs, So when you think of basically healthy hair, you would want to shampoo the hair, clean the hair basically. And then once you shampoo the hair, you basically stripping the oil, stripping the dirt, what you want to do after you do that, you want to go in with a conditioner. A lot of times people would say, oh, well, I shampoo my hair, but I didn't actually condition or treat the hair. So you basically stripping more of the moisture that we have. And I feel like for healthy hair, once you have the shampoo part, which is shampooing the scalp, and then you go in with your conditioner, then you condition the hair and not the scalp. And then you go in with, after you towel dry, you go in with your serum, which is your processed oil and not your natural oil. Then it kind of put even more moisture into the hair. The key to all of that is, I don't know if I'm going too fast. You could slow me down if okay. The key to all of that is something about moisturizing the hair versus hydrating the hair. The products that you actually putting in helping to moisturize the hair, but at the same time, it's hydrating the hair from the inside out, meaning you're gonna have less frizz, you're gonna have more manageable hair, even for natural hair. Okay. And another thing that I'm big on is leave-in conditioners, especially for natural hair. When it comes to leave-in conditioners, you would need a whole lot of that, because while you're moisturizing the hair, you're actually hydrating the hair at the same time, which is definitely needed for healthy hair. Okay. And then another thing that I'm big on would be trimming the hair and doing it on time. As women of color, we don't like the hair. We
Don't
have
touch my hair.
hair.
No.
So a lot of times I would see a lot of people with the hair is very uneven. The ends very, when you pull the ends, it's very straggly to the ends. And it's because once you're not trimming the hair on time, you would end up with the hair splitting from the ends, going all the way to the hair shaft, leaving with very thin hair. Okay, so another thing for me is making sure that is done on time, which would be every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, which is month and a half, 2 months. Yeah.
I have a question, Aline. So, so Savanique asks, in choosing hair products, is it important to know your hair porosity? Is that?
Yeah. Yes. It helps because it would kind of take you to whether you should have more oil-based products or more oily-based products, because oily-based tend to make the hair very heavy and weigh down, whereas water-based products would be more light to the hair. So it kind of helps. Yeah, definitely.
So how do you check your hair porosity? I know I saw something online where like you take a strand and like you put it like in a glass of water and you see like if it's to the bottom to the top or like in the middle, and you figure out
Yeah. So basically, that's the best way to find out if you use a glass of water. You put the strand in. If it's on top, it's very low. If it's midway, it's medium. And then if it drops down, it's very high for
Okay.
us. Hmm.
So she also asks, how do you know when you need moisture as opposed to a protein treatment and vice versa?
Moisture would be something that is done more than protein. And you definitely need moisture is if your hair is very frizzy, very we call it unruly. It's not behaving the way we wanted to. And then sometimes you would feel like where you put all kind of different products in your hair, but it's not, just sucks up, you know? So now that's when you would kind of like wanna do more moisture or more hydrating products than protein. But really and truly, protein is only supposed to be done maybe like 5 times a year. So it's not
Okay.
something you do on a every 2 week basis.
Okay. Olga asks, do her products need or necessarily have to be silicone free?
Um, to me, natural is the best way. But a lot of times, honestly, it would still help to have something that is processed in a way because I mean, just like how we take drugs when we're not well,
Right. Mhm.
and I mean, you have to do it in moderation. Everything you do for hair has to be in moderation, even the way you take care of it or style it, because what you don't want is excessive styling and then you end up stressing the hair out because that would leave you with a lot of premature hair loss as well. So whatever you do, just do it in moderation.
Okay. And Sarah asks, with 4B hair, should she use sulfate free shampoo?
4B would be kind of like my hair, right? Yeah, you could definitely use sulfate free. It's best. Sulfate free would leave a lot more moisture in the hair, whereas non-sulfate products would strip it even more. So
Okay.
that would definitely be, yeah.
So, and Lavonne asks, how do you feel about natural oils, coconut oil, olive oil for moisture?
Natural oils are basically sealers. They're not going inside the hair. They don't have the ability to penetrate the hair shaft, which is really, really small. So I would say, unless you're doing a home treatment where you use heat to open up the hair, I would not. I would not. It's not moisturizing, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see a lot. So another question was speaking about like everyone's trying to do like this rice water in their hair to make it grow. What are your thoughts about that? And also rice water.
Uh,
And also, how do you feel about aloe on the hair? So what are your thoughts on those two?
okay. So aloe, the rice water, I do believe they could work, but I'm a believer of if you put it inside your body, it's even better. So when it comes to the rice, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it could work. And then the women who do it, they would spray the hair and then they would braid the hair down. So they basically don't do anything with the hair. And I do feel like the hair would grow more from the lack of not, brushing out the hair as much. So they would retain a lot more length, versus versus actually the rice water actually doing it. Yeah, but I do feel like it works to some extent. But whatever especially when it's natural, if you could put it inside your body because that's how the hair is nourished through your blood,
Right.
it's better. Yeah. So about the aloe, because it's something that, we're not going to put in our mouths to eat, I would definitely say maybe try it on the hair and, but if it's something you could take in, it's even better.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Sorry, I had to swap with Danielle because we're having a bit of technical difficulty, but we're right here. So more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you wash your hair with hot water?
I would say hot, maybe lukewarm or something, but not hot. And then the thing is, with hot water, it opens up your hair. So if you're gonna do warm water, you definitely have to go back your last final rinse with something cool to kind of like close up the cuticles, because you don't want to leave them exposed. You don't want to leave them open.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely I would say not hot, more warm or cold.
Okay. And we have a question here about deep conditioning overnight. So is that okay?
I do it. I do it because I'm lazy. I'm a mom, and sometimes I'm rushing to get things done. But I honestly, if it's not going directly on the scalp,
Right.
because you don't want to coat up the scalp too much, because that's where, like I said before, your hair feeds from the blood vessels. So you don't want to clog up the follicles. You want to keep them open and free and allow the oils to travel down. So once you're not putting it very close to the scalp and more so to the hair, I think it's fine. Yeah, it should be fine.
So in terms of, I guess there's a difference between, or you can let us know whether or not there's a difference between natural versus relaxed hair and the washing, shampooing, and conditioning regimen. So on average, I guess weekly, what is appropriate? Should we be shampooing for natural hair? Should we be shampooing and conditioning daily or weekly, or how does that work?
The best way for natural hair would be, I would say, every week. But a lot of times, because natural hair could, you don't have to you don't have to actually use shampoo as much.
Right.
So I call a co-wash, and
Yeah.
I co-wash my hair honestly every 3 days, and it's because I love water on my scalp.
Yeah.
So once you're basically conditioning and not shampooing, it's for natural hair. For relaxed hair, because it's already stripped away so much, I don't recommend anything. I would say every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks, you could actually shampoo your hair and then condition or treat the hair. But if you do, I guess persons who exercise, if they want to do it more, then I would definitely say maybe a mild shampoo in between, and then definitely condition the hair. But it has to be kind of a preference, but definitely don't strip away relaxed hair too much.
Okay.
Give it, whereas natural hair could go maybe every couple of days if it's co-washing versus shampooing the hair. Yeah.
And so what about protective styles now? So what about our braids, or if we have a weave-in? How long is too long to go without washing your hair?
It would be hard for me to say how long is too long because I've done maybe 2 months without shampoo, but I did co-wash, But when it comes to styling, the if you're doing you braid your own hair, it's fine. But when it comes to braiding with extensions and then weaving, I wouldn't recommend anything past 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because after 6 weeks, the hair, the root would start to lock, and then it's going to be a lot of breaking the hair and shedding, I wouldn't recommend more than 6 weeks. Yeah.
And in terms of moisturizing the hair when they're in a protective style like braids, what do you recommend? How do you do that?
What was it? Sorry?
In terms of moisturizing when you have a protective style in like braids, how do you do that?
It's really hard. It's really hard. If you have it in, you could maybe spray a little bit of water and then do your little bit of serum. And I'm saying serum instead of oil because the oil wouldn't really moisturize, but maybe a little serum, and then you go in with your natural oil. Yeah. But I always recommend maybe shampooing in between to kind of get rid of the, buildup or, condition, and then maybe spray the hair. But the hair is not going to be as when it's out
Okay.
and you take care of it. It's not the same. So some people would say, oh, well, I could have my braids and still treat it and take care of it. It's not the same. And I always recommend once you take them out, the braids, the weave, you always have to give it a break, even a 2-3 months before you go back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the hair doesn't really thrive when it's braided, you know? So it over time the hair becomes very weak.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do the braid constantly, you're gonna see where the hair is very fine and straggly and thin, you know?
Right.
But you have the time to kind of like get its strength and keep going. Yeah.
Okay, I see that we are drawing very close to the finish line. I'm just looking at one more question here, and they're asking about using a towel versus maybe using a t-shirt to dry or just air drying. What is the best way?
If when I do my hair, like how my hair is now, I air dry. I don't. But I'm thinking they're talking about after they come out and it's wet and they use a towel. I guess it depends because I've always used a towel, but I can understand the point because they thinking the towel is gonna suck up more moisture than but that's when you go in with your leave-in, you know?
Right.
Because now, after you condition the hair, you basically rinse it out. It wouldn't be much product on the hair. Once you towel dry, then you go in with your leave-in. But I would say it depends. It's up to the person. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see whether our next speaker is in the chat yet. If not, then I'm very happy to continue with questions if you are. Kirsten, are you here? I don't believe I see.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Okay. Well then, Elaine, I guess what I'll do is the same with Peteche. I'll collect all of the questions and then maybe we can send them to you and send out an email with the responses. Okay, so thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time. And it was awesome. I think we all learned a lot that we didn't know before. So
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to pass this back to Danielle. Sorry for all of the flip-flopping, guys.
Okay, good afternoon once again, guys. So up next, we have Miss Kirsten Sweeting, and she was born in Madison, Wisconsin, but she's a Long Island gal, you know, but sheep runner blood in her, just like me. So she's very, 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 very well accomplished. She has her MBA in finance, and her passion for excellence led her to receiving the CFA Claritas Investment Certificate. And the passion she had for traveling and culture inspired her to become she was trained to become an ambassador for the Bahamas. And today she's a private banker, but her passion for culture and travel continues. She has spent many summers attending international cooking schools and traveling somewhere new each and every year. Unfortunately, this year, I'm sure you have the chance to travel as much.
Yes. Oh God, yes, you're right. I feel like I'm handcuffed to the earth.
I know. So ladies, so now we have Miss Kirsten. She's going to be teaching us about etiquette and table manners. So yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. And I'm very pleased to have an audience here interested in etiquette, because in this day and age, I feel like the basic common courtesies have simply been thrown out the window. Etiquette should never be discussed without observing the relevant culture in which the action itself is taking place. Therefore, it's important to understand that etiquette and culture always go hand in hand. What is perceived in one culture may be acceptable, but may not be so well perceived in another culture. There are many different types of etiquette, and I'm used to teaching this course in a 3-hour course to the Gentlemen's Club. So I'm gonna go, I have 15 minutes but I wanted to just share with you that when I do it for the Gentlemen's Club, the first thing that I do is I make them write down one word that describes me on a piece of paper. That's before I start teaching the session. And I found it interesting. So I'd like to say the etymology of the word etiquette is derived from the French word, and it's called estiquer. And what that means is to attach, to stick, or to label. So I got these words from the Gentlemen's Club, which was caring, mysterious, friendly, and elegant. And I find it's quite interesting because every day you step out in the world, someone is labeling you. They don't know you. However, it takes 30 seconds to form a first impression. And studies done by the Princeton psychologists found that it takes 1/10 of a second to form an impression of somebody. Therefore, etiquette is a silent and visual language. Making a good first impression is essential because once our sticker or label has been attached by an individual, we will never have a second chance to make that first impression. How do we present ourselves to the world? It is important to wear clothes that complement our figure, that don't draw attention to our flaws. And whenever or whatever function or event is taking place, it's always important that we present ourselves in the best possible way. You never know who you're going to meet. And hygiene is another form of etiquette. In fact, I like to call the COVID-19 disease the dirty hygiene disease. Why in this day and age is the Prime Minister or any other relevant authorities having to address the nation about washing their hands? Simple, basic, common, covering your mouth, sneezing when you cough, all of this is so important of just basic forms of cleanliness that have gone out the window. So when we talk about COVID, it's a dirty hygiene disease that is just being spread from one person to the next. And I find it interesting because I took my 6-year-old daughter to an appointment to have her hair braided. Of course, I'm the etiquette queen, so I show up early. And her appointment, let's say, was 4. I show up at least 10 minutes in advance. Of course, when I get there, the braider's not prepared. I understand, I sit, I wait. However, I was very grateful for the 40 minutes that I had to wait. Why? I observed. And I always tell people it's important to make observations when you're in a new setting or an environment. Why? Because I observed that her hands or nails were dirty. So you best believe I politely informed the braider that I had not anticipated a 40-minute wait, and I told her I had another engagement. I didn't make her feel bad, but at the same time, etiquette shows me that it's not the cleanest place in the world to be having my daughter's hair braided. This, of course, leads me to another aspect of etiquette being time. Please respect other people's time. Time indicates that you are diligent and dependable. In fact, punctuality is one of the key ways that an individual can positively brand themselves. It shows you have respect for other people and that you care about their time as much as you care about your own. I know in the Caribbean, we tend to be very relaxed about time. Child, I coming right back. I must say that has got to be the longest right back of your life when you're waiting for people. When you go on an interview, if you're late, what type of image are you giving off to your employer? In general, if you know you're going to be late, call ahead and inform the host, employer, client, or friend so you do not inconvenience them out of respect. Having proper etiquette means an individual is polished, poised, has culture, exposed. It's not so much our own good manners, but rather us going out of our way or out of our comfort zone to make other people feel comfortable around us. Whenever we're invited to a dinner, you receive an invitation. The invitation usually states RSVP. I would like to know how many of you know what RSVP stands for. In fact, it's a French word. It's derived from French, and it means réservez s'il vous plaît. Reserve if you please. Therefore, proper etiquette is to accept or decline the invitation on or before the date of the RSVP mentioned. If the invitation states Miss Sarah Porres, admit 1, please don't show up with Sarah's cousin, brother, nephew, or friend. One should always take into consideration that the host will be preparing a meal, setting the table, and even purchasing food. Hence the reason for knowing exactly how many people will attend ahead of time. What a major inconvenience when someone declines an invitation at the last minute or shows up with an unexpected guest. No matter where, based on an invitation, it never states that you must bring something. But in my opinion and my upbringing, no matter where I go, I always bring something. It's the silent language of etiquette that speaks volume. Whenever you are invited to someone's house, show up with a bottle of wine, a homemade cookies, a handmade trinket, anything to show the host that you took time to think about them and you appreciate the invitation. Now, that's when you're going even to a cocktail, let's say. Again, in French, a lot of these formalities of dinner are derived from French. And cocktail in general stands for amuse-bouche or happy mouth. But it's used for taking small bite-sized pieces. We all know words to describe a cocktail being stand-up event, juggling your wine glass, eating an hors d'oeuvre. If you're hungry, eat before you go. It's a cocktail. It's not a dinner. I'm always amused when watching the one guest at the party who stands out. He's following the waiter for the food, holding up the waiter to eat seconds and thirds at a time. Remember, it means small portions. It's not a buffet. So if we're speaking of buffets, do not pile food on your plate. The food is not going to run away. You can go back as many times as you want, as long as the restaurant is open. So there's no need to make mountains out of your food. And in fact, if you've ever watched how much food is wasted in a buffet, it is heart-wrenching. So take what you can, eat, and return for more. Now I will bring myself to maybe the dining setting. Whenever you're seated at a dinner table, it is 100% guaranteed that someone at the table will make the etiquette blunder. The first rule of thumb is when you're seated, you take your napkin. Your napkin goes in your lap. So I know off the bat how many people have etiquette because they're eating with their napkin on the table. Second, the forks always go on the left. So you have your short fork, which is your salad fork, and your long fork, which is your dinner fork. And on the right, you have your knives. Sorry, here they are. So you have your steak knife, which is always the edges facing inward with the sharp edges. And you have your regular knife, maybe to cut your potato or what have you. And another etiquette blunder, which a lot of people make that drive me absolutely crazy, is the bread and the water. Why don't you know which is your bread and whose water is whose? So I always tell people, do your hands like this, B and D. Don't eat my bread. Don't drink my drink. And once you have that down, you're set. You're good to go. That's the first rule of thumb when eating with an employer, a client. They'll all notice if you have etiquette. When everyone has been served, you may then commence your meal. You never start eating until everyone has been served. Now, if the person might have ordered a special meal or perhaps the food is going cold, well, then they would then acknowledge the table that people can start eating. But until that person acknowledges you, you don't start to eat. It's poor etiquette. And then you have a waiter. A waiter plays the role between the table and the kitchen. Please know that he is the liaison. Waiters do not cook the food and do not take your frustration out on the waiter. He's simply the messenger. So in order to get the waiter's attention, you either eye contact or you hold up your index finger or you do a simple nod until he can acknowledge you. Remember, the waiter works off of silent cues and should never be touched. Again, we talk about soup. If you're serving soup, you have a little soup bowl. We have our spoon. You don't slurp the soup. You don't make the noise. We don't need to hear all of that. It's not a band. You politely tilt the bowl forward. You bring the spoon up, and then you bring it to your mouth. And that is a proper way of eating soup. Never use the bread to wipe the plate clean. And finally, the waiter definitely has better things to do than run back and forth to the kitchen for 10 baskets of bread. Bread should be eaten with your soup or your salad and not be considered as a meal replacement. And when you're at the dinner table, it's important that you eliminate controversial topics such as politics, religion, sex, and last but not least, the name Trump. Nothing controversial should be discussed. Instead, pleasant conversations to include the entire table is always appreciated, ensuring that no one is left out. The icing on the cake with culture and etiquette is when it comes to etiquette, saying thank you, reciprocation. Whether a handwritten note, which I carry in my bag 24 hours a day, they're easily accessible, an email or a WhatsApp. I'm not too keen on WhatsApp. I feel handwritten notes and email are now okay. It shows the host that you appreciated their hard work, organization, and efforts that went into the meal preparation, event, or function. Thank you notes make a statement. It will definitely make you stand out. Reciprocate, share, say please and thank you. Respect others, feelings and cultures. Read, educate yourself, practice proper hygiene, and make sure that generation, our generation, does not get left behind. I certainly do not know everything, but one thing that I do know is that there are some things that money just cannot buy. Manners, etiquette, morals, and integrity. You either have it or you don't. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sweeting. I mean, you covered everything because I had some questions to ask you, but I'm just like, oh, nope, she just covered it. Everything.
I had more time. No, I'm sorry.
It was perfect, Ms. Sweeting. And you know, I was always raised, you know, first impressions are lasting impressions.
That's right.
And I think an issue, especially with this generation, even younger generations, is that they don't feel as though like they need to put like their best foot forward because they say, oh, well, you know, if they don't take me how I am, then that's on them. But why would you not want to show your best self the very, very first time?
That's correct. Yeah.
So I totally agree with everything that you just said. And, you know, manners and being nice to people will carry you around the world.
That's right. That's right. Very true.
Very true. Smiling at someone never hurt. It takes nothing away from you to be pleasant to people. Exactly. There's no difference in how you should be treating the CEO and the janitor to even pot cake.
Exactly.
You treat everybody with the same level of respect that you would want to be treated. And I think that is so, 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 so important. So thank you so much, Ms. Sweeting. I hope everyone everything that you said. We really, really appreciate you. We wish we could for a little bit longer.
Next time.
Yes, next I'm pretty sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Sweeting.
You're
Stay
welcome.
safe.
Okay, you too. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
You guys, that was amazing. I mean, everything that she covered is so relevant and so very, very, very important. And I think an issue we have in our society is for sure lateness. So we all need to be very cognizant of time management and how we go about our day and try to keep appointments. So up next, we have Miss Lavonne Alexis, and she is going to show us how to dress for success. So, Lavonne, are you here? Oh, there you go.
I'm here. Hi guys. Can you guys see me okay? Because I'm in my room and it's a bit dim.
No,
But
you perfectly. The
okay, thank
right,
you.
you look amazing, girl.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So do you and your coral. I love it.
I try to, like, you know, what since it's just from like the neck up, it's trying to be just like a little bit festive, you know?
I'm here for it. I love it. I love it.
You know? So a little about Lavonne. I know you own Shop the CC, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
also do, like personal styling for shoots as well, correct, Lavonne? Yeah.
mhm.
So
Yes.
how
Yes.
did you get
Yes.
into like your fashion journey and like why fashion?
Oh boy. I think that's always such a personal subject for me because when I'm asked that, I really want to be honest with my response, right? And so, of course, you'd say, oh, because I love fashion or whatnot. But I think, like, growing up, there were a lot of things that, you know, as an only child, I guess, and a young girl at that you deal with. And I think fashion was an escape for me. And I got to like go in my mother's closet, my grandmother's closet, and dress up and just escape in that world. And I think that like built up my you know, confidence a whole lot, just being able to, you know, be beautiful for the day in my grandma's stuff or my mom's vintage clothing, you know. So that's really how the passion for that started. And it picked up again in high school, and I was able to work along with April Weish, who has a hair studio now, but back in the day she did fashion, you know. And so I interned with her and she taught me a lot of stuff, and yeah, that's how I got into it. And it just kept going from high school, and went to college, studied fashion, came back and just continued on with it, you know.
That's fabulous, Lavonne. So dressing for success. I know like one thing my mom has always taught me is it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. And
Yeah.
further to that, she always said once you have like a nice pair of shoes and like a nice other handbag, like you're good, you know? I mean, of course, like the clothes that you have on your body are important, but you don't need to be spending, you know, like thousands of dollars on like Balenciaga, you know? So
I agree, yeah. I like the mix and match of things, because if you're a fan of a designer, you know, then that's okay to support that designer. But also just mix and match. Like when somebody compliments me on something, I have no problem with letting them know that I got this for $4 at a thrift store. Somewhere, you know, where I found it, and a lot of actually my vintage or thrift store pieces that I've had get the most compliments.
right.
And people don't know, as far as like a good plug is Rack Consignment Boutique. You know, when you can save money, but you can still look and dress really well. In these places where consignment and thrift shopping and vintage shopping, a lot of that comes with really tailored, structured pieces and jackets and things that, of course, you can dress for success, right? You know, you can have blazers that were like made in the 90s that are not necessarily constructed the same way. So, you know, all of that is always really good to mix and match and have your high pieces and your lows, your highs with the designers, and then you low, and you could wear them together, separate, whichever, but it'll always work, you know? I see your thumbs up.
And then I think like a big thing for me is I work for a government agency, and there are so much restrictions in terms of what is allowed.
Oh,
like
I know.
you're in the workplace, you can't wear all these colors. So for me, it's just like I like push it to like what my boss like. I should write you, but you look really, really good. So it's just like, you know. So it's like
I love that. I love that though, because that is what I encourage people to do is when you're dressing, of course you want to be appropriate for the workplace, right? And obviously I say here, because I wrote it down, you know, it's, when you dress, it's basically somebody's first impression of you before you even open up your mouth. You know, and so with work, I think a lot of people here are, you know, all of us have jobs where we go 9 to 5 and we're in a business setting.
Yes.
And it's a professional setting. And usually sometimes, you know, in some instances, you end up being the youngest in the room.
Yes.
So there's sometimes, you know, looking at it, at how you're dressing, if the skirt is too short or if, you know, I say always stay appropriate. Always stay appropriate. You know the people that you're working around, you know what you want to present yourself as well. So you can definitely be who you are on the weekends. If you want to dress sexy, if you want to have the cleavage out, if you want to have the mini skirts and all of that, and if that's who you are, then definitely, you know, go ahead and do that. But I say when you are in the workplace, you be the appropriate version of you. So there are, you know, thank the Lord too, there are now so many different avenues of where you can get fashion, right? And so that allows people to now create things where you can be who you are as far as your personality, but also go into the workplace. So now if you are going into your government office, you know, you can now say wear a pantsuit that is like a nice plum. Or
right. That's what I do, yeah.
Something that, or a nice print, or you know, it's still covered, it's still suitable, it's still appropriate for the office, but it still screams, you know, this is Danny, or this is, you know, or this is.
No, seriously, yeah.
Yeah, and so you just do that because you want to make sure that you are just making the best impression that you can make before anyone even speaks to you. And I think that usually people it's unfortunate, but they do, you know, they do judge you based on your looks, your appearance. It's unfortunate, and that's what we fight for, but it happens, you know, it happens. So just always, you know, staying appropriate, being prepared. I say always too, you don't want to overdo it with too much of a high heel, like a platform. You don't want to have too much makeup on, too much perfume. All those things can kind of be distracting in the workplace for people, especially if you're, you know, a beautiful girl as well. You would see everybody, oh, she's wearing just too much makeup on her face. You know?
No,
and
that's really how it is. That's
exactly, and that sometimes that's what you have to deal with. And so I say to just, you know, have a level playing field with everybody, but still be yourself. Just be, you know, the most appropriate that you can possibly be. No cleavage, not too much of a mini skirt. I always say to you, if your office say is cold, you don't want to have too much bare clothing.
right.
You know, make sure you extras like your cardigans, your jackets, things that, you know, you work in and that fit into your work environment. You can dress based on your work environment that you're in. You know, so if you have, say, a casual job, you go in, you know, a nice pair of jeans, a nice top, something that's appropriate for the workplace.
So, Lavonne, what are some pieces that you think, you know, the younger generation or like young people should implement into their wardrobe, like teenagers, you know? Because we have like a lot of like teen girls in this chat, and you know they want to.
Yes, and that's why I was saying to teen girls, because sometimes you girls may have your weekend jobs and things like that, or even class presentations. You always want to make sure that you're appropriate. So with you young girls, you want to have your actually too. You can find really nice printed outfits. I think that's so fun to see, like, you know, a printed skirt suit or printed pantsuit. You want to incorporate who you are. So if you like bright colors, you want to go and get some bright cardigans for things. If you're going to apply for a job, the way that you look is basically your resume, right? As soon as you step in the door. And so, you know, you want to have nice dresses in your, say, your favorite color. You don't want to have something that's too loud, right? Because you're not going to go someplace in like a neon green or, you know, a bright highlighted orange color. You just want to make sure that you, you know, you keep it, like I said, at an appropriate level. I would say, like I said, cardigans, jackets. You want to get your heels that are not too high. Like I said, be mindful of not too much perfume when you are going to apply for a job. Class presentations. I had so much that I wrote down, but I talk so much, ladies, so sometimes I forget, you know, but you can have button-ups, skirts, like I said, cords, which are your jacket and your skirt, or your jacket and your pant. You want to always make sure that they look nicely ironed, or if you have a steamer, you always want to make sure that you look nice and refined. Your hair is nice and pulled back, or, you know, if it's out, make sure that it's really nice and presentable. You just want to also make sure that you don't go to jobs in jeans if it doesn't necessarily, you know, apply for to wear jeans. So if you're going to, say, apply for a job, you don't go in jeans. You go in a nice, like, you know, skirt, a nice top, you know, just look presentable, ladies.
And then I think
yeah, like
another...
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, Lavonne. What was that?
And I was saying, like I said, bare clothing or ill-fitting clothes is a no. So you want to make sure that they fit you really nicely.
That's what I was just going to talk about was, you know, us in the Bahamas, we tend to not really wear clothes that are necessarily, you know, our size. You know, a lot of people think we're just, everyone's just like between like a small and a medium. Like no one wants to be an XL, or no one wants to be a large. Right? So like, you know, and then how you dress for like body types. You know, like I have I'm heavy chested, so I know like I can't wear tops of like balloons, and I have like a pregnant kind of like look.
Right.
So you know what, and I don't like to wear skirts because I have like no bungie, so I just look like a flat board. So I tend to wear like pants that have like so I wear like high-waisted pants that have like a little flare at the bottom, so it looks like I have like I'm evenly proportioned, you know. So like how should we like our different body types?
I would say you always assess your style first and foremost, the style or what it is that you want to, you know, to look like. And so when you go and you try on something and you go in the mirror and you see that it's ill, you know, you can definitely see, just like how you've assessed your style and you know that you cannot wear a skirt because you've assessed it. You've gone into the mirror, you looked at yourself and you said, okay, this is not working, that is not working. You know, if you need someone to help you, ladies, come to Shop the CC because we do all of that. Even if you have questions, young ladies, yes, even if you have questions about, you know, how something fits. But I always say, you know, I'm never opposed to, like, say, if you are more on the curvy end of things, I'm never opposed to you, you know, going outside of your box, because I do feel like a lot of people feel that they can't, you know, dress like how they would like to. But I would say you always want to make sure that you have a good fit. I would recommend you going online, for instance. If you go online and you see, you type in tailored, you know, pantsuit or tailored skirt suit or whatever, you can go ahead and you can see, you know, how it is that the items are supposed to fit you properly. And you can also assess yourself in the mirror. I don't know, sometimes, like you said, sometimes people may look in the mirror and still think that they're fine. But if you feel, if it's too loose by the skirt, you want to, or the pant, you want to make sure that you get it, you know, you want to make sure that you get it just tailored. You want to make sure that the hem isn't dragging too, you know, low on the floor. You know, I see a lot of that, and what that does is that causes holes at the bottom of the pant if it's dragging for too long. You want to make sure that it's nicely hemmed. You know, you want to make sure that it is your size, that you're not having problems zipping it up. You're not having problems, you know, stepping into the item. You just want to definitely always make sure that there is a good fit. You know, like I said, I recommend coming to Shop the CC, and we can head and we can help you. Or if you know, don't have access to come, you can always just Google, you know, your favorite, say, I would say somebody like, who always looks really nice. Let me not recommend that person because they're a little bit older. But no, actually, I don't know if you ladies know, say, oh gosh, what's the girl's name? Yara Shahidi, is it? Yara Shahidi. I think she does a really great job.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Looking, yes, like when she does her political speeches and things like that. I think she finds a way to incorporate who she is while still dressing for, you know, success.
Yeah.
So I think that's somebody that you can go and you can Google and you can say, okay, I can, you know, I like her style, you know, or I like this person's style, and then my style, and mesh it all together and, you know, find what works for you. But definitely, ladies, all you need to do is just try something on and you'll be able to see if it fits or not. Go and ask your mom, you know, your sister, how you look in it. If they say it looks too big, then you know, you need to go a size down. If it looks too small, you need to go a size up, you know, or you can get an item tailored for sure. Because if say like how your proportions are different from the top and then the bottom, you can get the size and then you can have that bottom tailored, or you can have the jacket tailored for it to, you know, fit overall.
Mm-hmm. And then, so I know for me, I personally don't like dresses because I feel like a dress just like, you know, just like locks you in. I'd rather just have like a lot of pants and tops. So I can have like a billion different looks. I feel like I get more, you know, bang for the, like for my buck if I just buy
Agreed. I'm a firm believer in co-ords. Actually, those are my favorite. It's my favorite thing because, you know, young ladies, if you know your first job, you have co-ords. If you want to go out later, like that Friday night, to go get some food with your girls, or you know, you go and you throw on some jeans, you could leave that jacket on with the top under it, so you can, you know, switch it up with the co-ords. And like you said, a pants with a nice top. You can go into work one day with, you know, the entire look. So, you know, you can mix and match your co-ord. So I really stand for those. I really, really love co-ord pieces. Skirts or pants.
Right. Yeah. Same. I totally agree with that. All of my wardrobe is like a bunch of colorful pants. I just have like a lot of like long button sleeve shirts. Yeah. I just use like interchangeably, you know. And
yes. Very good.
And they're just like, that's like a brand, like, yeah, girl, it is like a brand new situation. It really is. So like accessories. I know I love belts. I love statement necklaces, and I love shades. I cannot leave the house without shades. Shades, like, so what?
Which is great. Great.
Yeah. So like, I know like how I have on like this big necklace with like my studs. You know, you don't want to like overwork the look.
Correct. Know? Yeah. Yeah.
You properly accessorize.
You never want to be excessive with the accessories when you're going into the workplace, right? Because that can be a distraction. Yeah. You know, if you have on too much bracelets and you moving your hand up and down, you'd be able to hear all the jingling of the bracelets. Or, you know, if you're wearing, say, big gold hoop earrings and all of that. It's just very distracting in the workplace. So you just always want to, you know, be suitable enough to where you, you know, you can wear, say, your studs. You can wear a nice, like I'm wearing a hoop right now, but I think that something this small is appropriate. Maybe not this thick, but something this small can be appropriate. You see where it hits. You never want anything to be hitting your shoulder, ladies, when you go into the workplace, because that's just too much distraction for, you know. And, you know, so I think that you never want to be too excessive. You don't want to have too much rings on your fingers, you know. So just be appropriate. Like I said, you wear your pearls if you have pearls. I really like that. I really love, you know, you wearing your neck piece. I mean, it's standard Bahamian woman thing to do, which is have like your system. And right? So
yes,
it's standard. So even that, I think, yeah, but even that, I say you're wearing yours, but even that I think works because it speaks to personality. Because you can change up, right? You change up the different systems, and so I love that too. And I think those kind of things work where you can kind of just squeeze your personality in there, but still be appropriate. Young ladies, you know, you don't want to have any chokers on. Like I said, you don't want to have the, you know, excessive. You don't want to wear the anklets and all this different stuff. You just go where you know, you jewel up your face. You can have something simple on your neck if you'd like. You know, you have on your ring on each finger.
Yeah.
And then you call it a day. If you're a watch wearer, then you can wear a watch and you call it a day, but you never want to do too much. And that goes with every accessory, like I said, makeup, even perfume, jewelry, all of that. You don't want to be too.
So we have one question. So like, what about nails at work?
Now, nails at work, me personally, I'm not a nail wearer because I cannot type in nails. So I imagine it may be difficult for somebody who has even longer, you know, nails. So if you have your natural nails, that's good. I think that overlay is fine. Of your favorite color. I'm not opposed to, like, you know, kind of like toning down on the nails so much. I think that, like, I've seen my mom do it for years where she went every 2 weeks to get her nails done and she did whatever color she wanted, but, you know, she, you know, would of course still really look the part. So her nails would never bother anybody per se, but she always kept them at a suitable length to, you know, where it didn't look like she was going to claw someone's eyes out, or, you know, they were appropriate for the workplace. She was able to type in them, you know, and so I would say with your nails, you don't want to overdo it with where you have the sticky stilettos. I think it was a friend of mine who wore those, and she works for Bahama, and she said somebody actually commented on her nails. I think her manager or something actually commented on her nails and how does she work with them and stuff. So you have people who would even try to, like, you know, say to you, your nails are too much if they're, you know, filed a certain way or whatnot. So I would say stay the appropriate route, which is, you know, a natural, you know, manicured hand, or if you choose to use, you know, false nails, then you just keep it suitable enough. I like the coffin. Whenever I get my nails done, I like the coffin bed file, which is like the flat.
Yeah.
That's just me. You know, it's very 90s. That's just me, but I don't do it super long. You know, I keep it appropriate so that I can at least type with them.
But I know one thing I will say to our mentees and proteges is that either nail polish is on or it's off. Ain't no chipped nail polish, ain't no none of that. It either it's on or off. I will buy your acetone if you don't need it, But nail polish is either on
No shipping.
or off. Ain't no
Yes.
ship, nothing, no nowhere. That is nasty.
I would also say, to add to that, I really, really, sometimes it's not your fault, but I really don't like when you see 2 or 3 nails missing and then, you know, the rest are done. I think you take the time to, if 3 are gone, then you take the time to soak the rest off. So just always, I know sometimes, like if it's 1, that's fine. But me personally, I do see where people will still go out and wear like the long nails and then the 3 missing or come to work that way. And it's just like, it's distracting because you're looking at it and you're like, okay, that's different. You know, so me personally, I think it's just all about, you know, just looking really presentable. And I think that would say a lot about a person if you're not going to take the time to just even, you know, take your nails off and make sure it looks suitable enough when you're coming into the workplace. And, you know, and the thing is that you don't want people making up their own impressions of you. So you just go, you know, ready every time. You stay ready, so you ain't never
Exactly.
ready.
Lavonne, thank you so much. I wish we had more
Yes.
time.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me. It was certainly a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. So guys, her Instagram is Shop the CC and her store is amazing. I've been in it and I have pieces from her and they're fantastic. So you guys,
Thank you so
check
much.
them out. Okay.
Yes. Okay, ladies.
Thank you so much, Lavonne. We
Thank
appreciate
you, Danny.
you. Stay safe.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay, guys. Yo, today's session is just like it's amazing.
Fantastic when you're having fun.
It
isn't
really
it?
does. Okay, guys. So our last speaker today is Zemi. Is Zemi on?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we actually featured Zemi in our magazine for tourism, and she just has such an amazing spirit. Like when you are around Zemi, you can't help but to feel calm. She just has a very, very welcoming spirit. So you know, Zemi prides herself on being, you know, a problem solver, and she is a certified Eve's Journey life coach and uses her certification both in ministry and to help brides through the wedding planning process, as well as their transition to becoming wives. She is deeply passionate about helping others and seeks to serve wherever God leads her. Her current slogan is Born to Help, Born to Inspire. So, Zemi, are you here? We're so excited to have
I'm
you.
here.
Hi, Zemi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you? So good to see you again.
Good you as well. Thank you for the compliment. I heard you say that I make you feel calm, which is
No,
awesome.
you do. Yeah, like you have a very calming spirit. Seriously, yeah, you do.
So hi everyone. I don't know if the style is questions or if I just jump right in.
You can just go right in, Zemi. Like, we're ready for you.
Okay. So I was given the topic of becoming and spirituality, I guess Christianity. And so I kind of wanted to talk about my faith journey. I grew up Anglican, but I wouldn't say I grew up in the church, so to speak, which I think in some sense is a good thing because I didn't grow up with the spirit of religion. So a lot of things that I do and a lot of things that are foundations to my faith walk or what God would have like personally told me that I need to do personally. And so like many women, I rededicated my life to Christ after a massive heartbreak. I just felt, well, there was a lot of things involved for me. One, I lost my mom when I was 12 years old. In 2012, I lost 3 different mother figures. In 2012, I also went through a massive breakup. I think a year before that, I was in an abusive relationship. And so I was just pretty much at my breaking point. Well, I was like, God, I've been doing it my way. My way isn't working. My way is a hot mess. And I need something new. And God actually, I felt like Jesus came to me in the words of a secular song, which is Justin Timberlake's Mirrors, which is crazy. because I listened to this song and I was thinking God was saying like the person I left was my soulmate and we're gonna get back together, because the whole premise of that song is, you know, he broke up with his ex and then they got back together and it's so beautiful. So I was thinking that's what it was, and later on God revealed to me that no, I was gonna lose you and I am your mirror, you are my mirror. And so if I hear that song now, I'm just gonna be bawling because it meant so much to me in my Christian walk. And really, like, since 2013 when I recommitted, my life has been a series of testimonies, from grace to grace, from strength to strength, and also like a healing process. Early on, it was very beautiful where I felt like this honeymoon season with God. And I don't know if anyone has ever recommitted their life to Christ and they felt like that honeymoon season where it's so like, it's all rainbows and beautiful and it's butterflies. And then you get to a point where it's like the real work starts. So God actually said to me that my character was ugly. And so it's amazing that you can say today, 7 years later, that when I'm around you, you feel calm, because obviously it's a journey to get to that point. He actually told me my character was ugly. And I felt so defeated because I said to God, like, how can I fix that? How can I pivot from that? I felt like there was so many deep-rooted things. I felt literally like there was this huge tree that was inside of me and I didn't know how to get this uprooted. And I read this verse, I think it was in Mark, and it pretty much said, cut it at the root. Like, why am I trying to pull up this tree that has been deep rooted in me, like through my traumas, through, you know, like watching my mom pass away, like being broken in relationships and, you know, feeling certain rejection from my dad, all these different things, all these different traumas that I'm trying to pull up with my little human strength, when all I had to do was cut this down. And when I got that revelation, it was just like, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. And life from then has been a series of testimonies. You know, graduated school, like I left university because God told me to leave university in my final year. You know, got a job right away, but so many people say you can't get a job in the Bahamian economy. My degree wasn't even completed. And I was making more money than my dad after 30 years in education without my degree complete. First day on the job. Had a car, moved in on my own with my brother. 2 weeks into that job, they said, Zemi, we're shutting this place down. Literally, they closed that bank. And I was like, you know, like, what am I gonna do? But God was so gracious to me that even though I was 2 weeks on the job, I got a severance package of $10,000, only being there 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And then I was able to be there until December. Met my husband there, although we didn't communicate there. I didn't look for a new job. I was called to say, hey, we would like to interview you, go to that job. My husband is there again. I mean, like, God has just been doing amazing things since I said yes to him. And even to me today, I'm talking to you from Delaware. I would have never thought when I left university in I think it was January 1st, 2014, to move back to the Bahamas. I never would have thought that in the year 2020, number one, we'd be in a pandemic, and number two, that I would be in Delaware, married in Delaware, with my 2 cats. I mean, so for me, my obedience to God has been the most pivotal change in my life and in my character, in me. And even just last night, early in the morning, God told me that he started to tell me about some trauma that I still had, and I guess I can share with the ladies. I always knew that I dealt with depression, like, you know, because my mom died. I didn't know that I had trauma in watching her die. Like, you know, she had asthma and, you know, she went unconscious. I didn't realize that I had trauma related to the actual physical act of watching her dying that day and seeing her dead body in the ambulance. I had no idea. I thought all of the depression that I dealt with that experience at 12 years old, almost 20 years ago, was based on her death. And so now, like, I just feel like God is the ultimate mental health practitioner, the ultimate doctor who helps me to heal, you know, to continually heal, because I think he wants all of us to be healed, empowered, restored, which is the mandate for my women's ministry, Wifer. I feel like restoration is what he really wants from us. We get so broken in society with the people that we date, how people mishandle us, situations that we go through. And God really is saying, like, come here, girl, let me fix you, let me heal you. And then I feel like once we commit to that, it's such a beautiful, beautiful process. I can talk more, but I'll just give a break in case anyone has any questions. I see people listening. I'm sliding through.
But like I just remember, when we met you and like you had met your husband at the first bank and then you met him again. I mean, like when something is for you, like it's definitely for you,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, do you think, a lot of people talk about like manifestation and, like you have to see it first and then, because, you have to want things for yourself. It's one thing for your mom and your dad and your whole family to want something for you, but I feel like you really have to want it for yourself so that you know that you have to work hard or like work towards that.
Well, manifestation is a tricky thing because with manifestation, the New Age version says, if I think it, I get it. So it places a lot of the power to receive good things or to receive gifts onto you as a person. Obviously, as a Christian, I feel like all good and perfect things come from God. Therefore, like when I recommitted to God, I didn't know what life was going to look like. But I said yes to God. And he just like from strength to strength, from glory to glory, he kept sending stuff up. So the way that and like even the fact that when I was a kid, I drew on a piece of paper that I wanted to marry a twin. I'm a twin with a boy. My husband is a twin. And so I couldn't have orchestrated that. I mean, like that was things years ago that I placed, on a piece of paper. Even down, like it's little things that God will show you that I love you, I care about you, where I don't even bother with manifestation. I just try to stay committed with him and allowing him to lead. And someone said when God spoke to you, did you hear him physically? So there are different ways that I hear from God. Like I said, it could be that like a song could speak to you. But I think it's about spending time with God. So like often it would be that I would be reading the Bible and a verse would like really stand out to me. And then I would keep hearing the verse over and over and over. And I'd be like, God would just kind of like expound. I can't explain it per se, but like in my brain, I would automatically know. And then there's dreams. There is hearing it in my spirit, like what people call like intuition. Like for example, the first time I spoke to my husband online, I felt a peace. And I guess it's in me talking to God as well. I said, even if I don't marry him, I want to marry someone just like him. Someone who had an actual relationship with God. God has spoken to me audibly, I think once, and I was doing something where, I think twice, like he's called my name. At one point, it was when I had recommitted to God, I had decided that I wasn't going to date. I was just going to like spend time with him. And I remember I was really, really struggling financially in my last year at university. That's another reason I dropped out. And I came back to like work for myself. But I think I had lost my lease. My sister also lived in Canada, but her place was like mushroom small because she lives in Toronto. So like a studio apartment. I think I'm missing some of the chat. What did recommend? Recommitment. Okay. Yeah. So I stayed by this guy's house. And like I stayed in the living room and obviously he was in his room. But one day I fell asleep in his room when he wasn't there with me. And so God literally called my name to say, Zemi, get out of this boy's room and go back to the couch. And so like I just heard Zemi and I was like, okay, I'm getting out of here. And so that's the point where I have heard his audible voice. Most recently in my prayer time, which is another way God speaks to you. Like in prayer, like I actually felt like I was literally having a conversation when he told me that he said, I want to bless you. And I feel like it was a corporate word I shared it on my YouTube channel where God wants to bless us, but he wants to make sure that when he gives it to us, that our foundation can handle it. So like how is your character? How is your attitude? You want a good job, but your attitude would wreck it. Like your customer service may be so horrible that you lose your job in a week, or you want to conceive. I don't know the age, like the age group looks pretty young on the call, but you may want to conceive and you're treating your body so bad, you're going on drinking, or you even like during quarantine, you're drinking all the time. You may not be able to carry a baby full term, or you want a husband and you just keep popping off at the mouth so much that you turn off the guy who really wants to be with you. And so it's like God wants to give good gifts, And I felt like he actually is waiting to give them or is about to give them, but it's a matter, it's up to us how we're able to maintain the blessing, because our foundation is either weak or strong. And he actually gave me an analogy of like Lego, or even like Jenga, where, you know, one of it is stacked up properly, where each piece can, you know, really have the weight of the other piece, and then another one is like they're not even. So anything you put on that, it just crumbles. And it was really talking about us, our character, our well-being, like how we are as people, the health of our temple, how can we handle the blessings of God. And what people said, what recommitment look like? For me, recommitment was a shift of my lifestyle. It was no longer doing things out of my own strength. I changed what I listened to. For me, like I learned lyrics in 0.5 seconds. You can play a song, I am singing that song in 0.5 seconds. So I don't listen to secular music because I learned it too fast. A lot of people aren't like me. I changed what I watch. I am a type of person, I kind of mimic behaviors. So I wouldn't watch like Real Housewives of Atlanta, like those kind of shows, or because I would kind of mimic that type of behavior in my interaction. So for me, it wasn't beneficial. And one of the things that God told me, he told me to cleave to women who had a godly anointing. So that's a point to write down for those who are thinking about that. So cleave to women who have a godly anointing. So for me, in my solitude in that time, it meant who I was following. So I unfollowed a whole heap of people who, you know, didn't push me in the direction I wanted to go in. And I followed a bunch of people who were where I wanted to be, who had strong walks with God, who, you know, like were doing well in their spiritual walk. And also he told me to memorize scripture. That was the only two instructions I got when I recommitted, like learn scripture, meditate on scripture, and cleave to women who have godly anointing. And the converse of that is to not cleave, or to not follow, not, you know, associate with, not have in your ear women or anyone who isn't following that path, especially in that incubation period when you're really trying to build up yourself. And it meant like I still had friends who would smoke and drink. I never was a smoker, but I had friends who would smoke and drink. And I'd go by them because I still wanted to be friends with them, but I would just fall asleep because I didn't want to do that. So I wasn't much fun for them, but I still wanted to maintain some friendship. Sometimes you can't realistically. So it could mean for you like cutting off a boyfriend who, you know, just want to lay up, and or it could be like cutting off friends who into something that you don't want because you see something different for yourself. You see something higher for yourself. And not to say like having fun is bad, but there may be a time and a period where you have to focus on something else for that time. What were the other questions?
Someone asks, what advice can you give so that we don't stray away from what God wants or has planned for us?
I think that's a choice. First and foremost, a choice to say, like, do I want God's plan A for my life or B, C, D? So in my life, like even with my husband, we decided that we would be celibate for our courtship, and we dating for 3 years because I made a decision, and we jointly made a decision that we wanted God's plan A for our life. I knew if I had sex with my husband, I wasn't going to marry him. I knew that. I knew based on like my history, I knew that the person I was supposed to be with, I wasn't supposed to have sex with until marriage. And so wanting God's plan A meant being in obedience to God, no matter what that felt like, no matter how that hurt in the moment. And it's actually funny because there wasn't much of a gap between my ex and my husband. God like kind of told me that he didn't want me to be in that relationship anymore. And I met my husband like literally the same week. I think that was a Tuesday when God told me to leave, and on Thursday I had the first conversation with my husband. And so there wasn't much of a gap there. And I also left that relationship without any heartbreak or anything because God was kind of leading me in a different direction. And so like, you know, I feel like wanting plan A is paramount, and it helps you to make the decisions that you make in terms of relationships, in terms of life. You want to go the narrow way. And I think a lot of people don't like this word. They hate this word more than they hate submission, and that's holiness. But God still has a standard of holiness that, you know, we should uphold or aim to uphold, and even talk to them about what that looks like. So for me, I jumped from an A to a D, B cup. I'm still getting used to my new body. because that happened like almost overnight. And for me, one of the things that God told me was cover up my shoulders. But my husband wants me to dress more sexy. So it's like, for me, that was something that was an obedience level with God, which is to change the way that I dress. And then I adjust that for my husband. So if you go on my Instagram, you may see me dressing a little bit more sexy to kind of appease the two, trying to cover my shoulders, but also giving something for my husband, because obviously my husband is now my head and God respects that. But I think ultimately for me, it's obedience. Obedience, listening to what God tells you. A lot of times we say, God isn't talking to me. You know, Zemi, give me a word from God. But I'm like, did you listen to the last thing? What's the last thing he told you? Did you listen to that? Did you implement that? And sometimes, like, when you talk to them, they haven't. God told you to go to school in China, and you don't want to go to school in China because you feel it's too far away. You don't want to learn the language. And so now you feel stuck and you feel like so unproductive. But that's because God wanted you to go to school in Canada. He gave you a word where you're going to flourish, but you want to stay here in your comfort zone. And so ultimately for me, it boils down to obedience.
And Olga asks, is it possible to speed up your healing process?
Yeah, it is, by not getting new wounds, I would say, but I wouldn't rush a healing process. I mean, I thought that going into marriage, I was good. But like I said just last night, God revealed to me, like, hey, you still have some trauma that you need to work through. And even in marriage, like, God had to sit down with me and show me where I still had soul ties, where I was still hurt over people from my past. And I had to actually physically work through those things while married, when I thought that I did such a good job in my single time, going through these things and pinpointing, where do I have a soul tie? Where am I still hurting? Am I unforgiving? Do I have trust? And so I worked through a lot of things and I did a lot of good work, but there was still more work to be done, because it's a constant journey. People wound you all the time. You know, people wound you all the time, and then sometimes someone may do something, you may lose a friend, and that creates a new wound, but it also kind of hits at a scab of an old wound, and then you realize I still have healing work to do. So I don't personally think you should rush a healing process, especially not to be married. Definitely not. In my transition to marriage, I realized why people say seasons matter. Like, transition to marriage, it was so much work that needs to be done in both of us. There was so much selfishness reigning in the marriage for both sides that I was like, I'm never rushing a season again, because this is hard. So when people ask me all the time, Zemi, you have kids yet? Zemi, you have kids yet? And I'm like, I'm going on God's pace. I'm not pressing for no children, because that's a whole new season of life that's going to demand something else from me. And when it comes, then I accept it. So I am now so content in seasons. And I know that's hard, like, as a married woman, to tell single women to be content in your singleness. But honestly, there's so much things in your singleness that you can do that you can't do when you're married. And I know women don't like to hear that. I can't just jump up and say, like, I wanted to go back to school. My husband was like, nope, you're not going nowhere. You could better go to school online. We just got married. And so it's so many things that you may want to do. You may want to travel. You could travel with your spouse, which is beautiful, but you know, you always have to check in and make sure you're on one accord out of respect for that person. You want to do it. But there are so many things that you can't just up and do that you can do. I feel like people think when I'm single, I have to wait. I have to wait because I don't want to go to Paris by myself. I want to go with my boyfriend, just go to Paris. You know, you can go again and show him the beautiful places that you found, or find new places. Or you say, like, I don't want to work towards a home. I want to do that with my husband. I want my husband to bring the house. You know, help him with the down payment. Like, bring something to the table. There's always something that you could do. If you want kids, I would say from now, take a vitamin, take a prenatal even. Like, most of them are safe to take for extended periods. Exercise, work on your pelvic floor. Like, if you want anything you want, you start working towards it without being so focused on the goal. Focus on what you can do now to get towards that goal. If you want to go to Ivy League school, work on your references from now. Work on your, application process from now. Don't just focus so much on the end goal. Think about what you can do now in the process that will get you there.
Daria asks, tips on balancing spiritual life in college/school and the feeling of not having enough time in the day.
That's rough because you, anytime you spend studying God's word, you're like, I really should be studying for that test. That is a tough one. So it could be that you either wake up early and you spend time with God, give him your first 15, like some people do it, or 30 minutes, or late at night, depends on what your sleep schedule is. So I find that it's really good to spend time with God in the morning, but not everyone is that way. Sometimes if I had to do it at night, I would. But once you get in time and to read a Bible, even if you're just reading a verse and you stick that verse on your wall and you meditate and you memorize that verse the whole month, God is faithful and just and he will forgive our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And you just read that over and over and over and over. Or I am fearfully and wonderfully made, like read it over and over. Sometimes I couldn't, like, not in a school season, but like when something tragic happened in my life, when one of my uncles passed away, I couldn't pray. I would recite Psalm 23 every single day because that's all I could rely on. And so you don't realize that when you build up a storehouse of small scriptures, what that does for you in later seasons of life. So, and don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty when you're studying that you should be spending time with God, or like incorporate him in it. So I would listen to hymns, like the instrumental with no words, because I can't, like I said, I learn words too easily. So with listening to that, I knew what the hymn was, and it would create this nice atmosphere for studying. You play worship music first thing when you wake up instead of trap music or whatever else. Like little habits that you do that kind of invite him into your day. When I was in college, Heather Lindsay was really big. And so she would recommend stuff like going to lunch dates. So taking your journal. I was in school in Canada, so I go to Tim Hortons with my journal. Sometimes go to the park and just journal. Very simple little things that help to create a foundation for the person I am today.
Zemi, that was just so beautiful. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today, Zemi.
No worries.
Thank you so much. I thought like we ended the session on such a high note. Everything you said was so relatable. And I think, especially like at this time in our lives, like we're just trying to figure out ourselves and what path we want to take. And, really just trying to balance our spiritual life with our personal life, and really just trying to figure out exactly like what exactly God wants for us, and really just trying to not, I think it's very hard. I know for me to stay in the moment, I'm always trying to think about my future, or like I try like everything is just like fast forwarding. So for me, it's just like to stop and to listen and just try to be in the now.
And I think if someone asked if they can message me, I'm on Instagram at Zemi Regine, Regine. So I think if someone can type it, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, feel free to message me whenever you want. I answer all of my DMs. And then I think I wanted to leave with this. There's a corporate word for this season in particular in quarantine, and God just wants relationship. I think he wants to get to know his daughters again. And so don't think it has to be anything fancy, but take some time to be a little still before God right now and work on that relationship. That is definitely corporate. I've been seeing it everywhere. I've heard it myself, that God just wants relationship.
Thank you so much, Zemi. We really, really appreciate it. Today was absolutely amazing. I just dropped your ad, like your Instagram handle, inside of the chat, so everyone, can look at it. And also, guys, if you didn't catch it inside the chat, she's actually tagged on the Instagram page, the Power Passion Project page. So you can always find her out there, as well as all of the other speakers' ads as well. But Zemi, thank you so much. Thank you. So good to see you. And you're glowing, like you look fabulous. So
thank you. You as well. Enjoy the rest of the conference, ladies. Thank you so much for having me.
Stay safe, Zemi.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so Oh, wait, okay, we're good? Okay, so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Danielle, thank you so much for moderating this. And to everyone that spoke, I'm not sure if you're still here, but Peteche, Aline, Kirsten, Lavonne, Zemi, thank you so much. I know all of our girls got a lot from this talk today. I think it was very exciting, very interactive, and just know that like your mentors, these ladies who are volunteering their time, they are more than happy for you to reach out to them with any questions that you have, any questions at all. So like Danielle said earlier, you can find their Instagram handles on the Power Passion Purpose Project Instagram page if you need to. Just a recap of everything that we did today. So we began with a whole skincare regime and professional face, right? Because that is what the purpose is of this particular session. So how do you go out into the workforce and present your best self? That's effectively what we want. So you have your face done, you have your hair done, you have everything that you need to know in terms of hair preparation and hair treatment, hairstyles, protective styles, and what you do when you have them, natural hair, relaxed hair, we went through all of that. Then you have your etiquette, so what you're supposed to do to stand out. Thank you notes and thank you letters, like Kirsten said, they will go a very, very long way. And in this time when everything is digitalized, a handwritten note, perfect. One thing that someone told me is if you have an internship or if you're going to lunch with an important person, guess what? Write that letter before you go. You may have to sign it off and there may be something that you want to add at the end, but have that prepped and ready to go so that you can either give that to the person there, or if you're in a place where the postal system actually works, then you just ship that off immediately after. But you don't want a situation where you're actually waiting to do these things. And then we got to dressing for success and your body type. So also very, very important. And I think you'll find now and leading up in the next few years that your personality is going to develop and your style is going to become less of what you see on TV and more so of what you actually really like and what works for you. Again, if you have any questions, Lavonne is there to help. And then finally, all of these things, you have this excellent exterior, you have on your pearls, you have on a nice dress, your hair is done, your face is beat, but you ain't going nowhere unless your spirit and your spirituality and your faith is in order, okay? So yes, outside, great, awesome, but the glow and everything that you see and everything that you have heard since Monday come forward, you'll see that that is what actually fuels you. That is what will lead you in the right direction in terms of what you need to do to prepare for the job or to prepare for the exam. And so you just have to take your faith bit by bit. I know that at your age, it's very overwhelming. You want to do a lot. You want to go to the parties. You want to do a lot of stuff that may seem like they are not in accordance with what we are telling you. But I think you need to realize that your journey is yours. We are here to lead by example, but of course, there are certain things that you need to find out for yourself. So I'm hoping that we're setting the right example for you. But your walk with God or whatever you believe in is something personal to you and something that will grow over time. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions. Give it about a few seconds. If you don't have any questions, or if you would prefer to message the speaker or one of your mentors individually, then that's absolutely fine. I am going to be sending out a form just so that we can recap and I can get some of your feedback on Monday, Tuesday, and today's session. I'll do that probably in the morning. I'd also like to remind you that if you haven't filled out your form for, what is it? So on Friday is the artistic philanthropy and media kind of day, right? So if you haven't filled out the form that I sent on Saturday, then you need to do that as soon as possible because there are certain items for each session that we need to get. So particularly if you're in the jewelry making segment, I have to connect with you because there are some things that I need to get to you. But yeah, so if you haven't filled out that form yet, please do so now. And otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. So have a great evening. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, see you tomorrow.